meal tickets are for sale right back here, and the barbecue is rocking and rolling right now. Y'all get you some.
When I came home from Vietnam, we didn't get a lot of stuff, and nobody cared one way or the other. And we decided we wasn't going to let that happen again. So the association was the best way to help people that need it. And in the UDTCO community, wives, children, whoever needs the help, 97% of what we give them actually goes to the cause. 3% or less than 3% goes to administrative stuff. So to me, that's great.
It's funny. I mean, every time you come down, it's something different. He's just made such an amazing ride out of this thing. Every time I bring somebody new down, you know, they sit in awe. And I didn't do anything really. I just put the bug in his ear, and then he took it from there, and he just made an amazing thing out of it.
About 12 years ago, we were at the UDTCL Buster in Fort Pierce, Florida, and Gene Warda, one of the directors, and old-time frogmen and seals, we were sitting around the breakfast table at a bed and breakfast called the Melon Patch. And Gene Warda was talking about what a bike ride that he put on up in Virginia Beach called Frogs for Freedom. And me and my big mouth, I said, well, you know, we got good riding down in Texas. And Doc Clark or Tipton, one or the other, said, well, why don't you put on a ride down there? And I said, well, hell, you know, our town's less than 1,000 people. I don't know if we could make $500. And one of those two said, well, hell, that's 500 the association don't have now. So the wife and I talked about it as we were driving back to Texas, and we did a little legwork and said, okay, we'll try it. And in the first year, we made around 12,000, and it's just continuously grown since then.
And this is what it turned into. I mean, the guy is like, this is what he made it. It's amazing. My first ride I came to was, I think, year 4, 304 was my first time down here. And I was so impressed with the ride and the town that I've been back every year since.
Best year we had, we took in 43,000 in one day. And I'm hoping we can break that record today. If the weather gods can cooperate, we might do it. I've got about 15 or 20 old frogmen and seal friends that have come from Montana, California, Florida, North Carolina, Rhode Island, so all over, but it's kind of looking like a little mini reunion for them. You know, we all starting about Wednesday, start having a couple of drinks and telling lies and stuff. Most of them we've heard before. So that's kind of the deal.
It's like going back in time. It's amazing. You know, I tell my wife that, and she doesn't. What do you mean going back in time? I say, you know, you see the sidewalks with the covers and the log posts. One guy comes in one year and he's got these longhorn bulls. The horns had to be 8 feet across, and he's got saddles on them. And he says to me, "You want to ride one?" And I said, "Hell yeah!" So I climb up. Chief Moy was here, Mother Moy. He was here, and he got on the other one, and we're riding the bulls up and down the street here, taking pictures. You got to see that. I got pictures of me riding this bull out here.
Well, the groundwork is laid. We had in the past 10 years, we've donated over $330,000 to the association. So that's. It's not a huge chunk of money, but it's not chunk change either. You know?
There's just so much going on all the time, you know, and it's so much fun to be here. And then, you know, you meet guys like Harris and the two cooks over here, and then Richie, the auctioneer, and just everybody is just so friendly all the time, you know. And they come up, and you come into the place, and they're like, "Hey, Gene, how are you?" You know, everybody's so happy to see you when you come in. It's just something that grows on you.
Well, it's a brotherhood. It's one word. You know? Teammates, brotherhood. That's what it's about. I think us old parts are better at it than the young guys.
SEALs are a brotherhood. They've been a brotherhood ever since Scouts and Raiders all the way back in World War II. I mean, there's so many stories. These guys come back. And the thing I love about the teams is somebody's always a jokester. No matter how hot the situation or how dangerous the situation, somebody's cracking a joke or making something funny out of it. And when you listen to some of the stories, you pick up on that stuff. You know, but some of the guys are just so humorous.
You know, I look in the mirror and scare myself sometimes. You know, what the hell happened, Herschel? But that's just part of life. Being 80 is, I'm very happy I made it that far, and I'm very surprised. Very surprised.
We used to take day-night flares. We had day-night flares. So when you were swimming, you pump one end and it's smoke, and the other end is a night flare. And we used to tie those up under the cars when somebody got married. We'd nail a screw into the blacktop and then hang the day-night flare with the both ends pulled, and it's tied to the screw in the blacktop. So when he backs out, both ends are pulled, and you get this bright red light and red smoke that's all over the place. And we used to do that to everybody. Everybody that got married.
I loved it. Yeah, he got shot, got blown up. You know, I mean, that's just the way it is.
We had one guy that he was going to get married. So we took him out the night before and got him drunker than a skunk. We took away his identification, his wallet, no money. We put him on a bus to Chicago. And he was asleep when we put him on the bus. And he come back and made the wedding. And how he did that, I have no idea. He made it back for the wedding. But, you know, it's just stuff like that. Guys are always pulling some kind of a crappy on you. And it's what makes it so much fun to know these guys.
Your brothers. I only had one. In the teams, I got hundreds. You know, the way it works.
When you're in a battle situation in a foxhole or you know, you're getting in a firefight or something like that, you depend on these guys to live, you know, and they depend on you. So it's something that you get very close with.
I hope I find a few teammates with me up in the pearly gates, you know. I'll probably get a pair of bat wings. I won't get them pretty white ones, but that's okay. As long as they'll get me in the air.
A friend of mine that comes down here, he's Billy Christensen. His grandfather was also killed in action, so we kind of have a bond there. The weird thing about it is my dad knew he was going to die. He told everybody before him. And when the announcement came across that I was born, they were all sitting around the fire and cheering and all kinds of stuff. And he says, "It's too bad I'm never going to see him." My mom struggled, and if it wasn't for her help from people in the teams and family, we wouldn't have made it. You know? So this is very dear to my heart that these kids from this generation don't have to worry about that.
My friend Killer John, the guy sitting right here, he was in the same class with my grandfather. So for the last, 9, 10 years, now 9 years, 8, 9, we've come together, you know. We used to ride our Harleys, we take trips and things. You know, he buried my granddad. You know, they went through training together, they were good friends. My grandmother was left with 5 children to raise by herself. They didn't have the organizations and the way that things are done today. They got a letter in the mail or a postcard said, "Hey, your husband's gone." So there was no support. This organization supports those families. So that's why this is very important to me to be here.
All I have are stories and pictures and newspaper articles, but then I have these guys that I actually watch and I can see, well, I bet my dad was like that. You know, the characteristics and the stories I've heard. You watch these guys and you see the love. And I missed that love growing up. So anytime I can be around this kind of stuff, I'm going to be here.
So I get to spend a lot of time with the guys that knew my grandfathers, both of them. You know, so it's kind of unique in life to be able to have beers and drink with your granddad's drinking buddies, right? So I'm pretty privileged, very special, so to be part of this.